There's that Conte slide guitar music. It comes in every Monday through Friday, live at 5 in the E. Bullet B Network, Rumble X, YouTube, all that good stuff. Check us out. Subscribe. Type in Newswire. Roy Bleckert. You'll see my nice, smiling, shining face. Catch all our archives on that. Lots of stuff going on. Spencer Pratt's flat, killing it in the LA mayor's race. We'll cover that. Susan Shelley should be in at the bottom of the hour. Of course, we get the Sandy, the Bain, and the Barona fires. Of course, they're not burning down whole cities because they're in Ventura and Riverside counties, not LA, where we had the disastrous fire that's going on over there. Todd Blanche says, hey, they just indicted Raul Castro of Cuba. Says he was murderous, villainous, fiend, communist. Wonder if he's going to get the Maduro treatment. We'll see. That was just announced today. We'll have the latest on the governor's race, all the machinations going on there. But who would have thought a senatorial candidate would be joking about jerking off? Graham Plantner, who's running in Maine as a Democrat, joked about porta potty masturbation, penile graffiti, in a Reddit report. He posted this kind of stuff. Our politics are coming down to this, and Democrats are going to run this guy as Maine senator. Now, believe me, I'm no Susan Collins fan by any stretch of the freaking imagination. But this cat is from Hunt Valley, Maryland on ABC4. Graham Plantner, the presumptive Democratic nominee for Maine's U.S. Senate race, reportedly joked in Reddit posts years ago about masturbating in one porta potty and admiring penile graffiti in another. I kid you not. Plantner, a veteran, reportedly shared one of the messages in 2017 response to a question about comforting smells for service members. A user asked veterans about scents that helped him feel nostalgic or refocus on the present. That isn't even the half of it. Graham Plantner cruelly mocked a U.S. soldier who nearly died protecting his squad. Stupid mother effer, didn't deserve to live. Of course, that's reported in the California Post. Washington, 7 years ago, about the same time as the masturbation post, Democratic Maine Senator candidate Graham Plantner cruelly mocked an American soldier who was caught on camera taking fire from the Taliban in Afghanistan. The viral helmet footage shows from PFC Ted Daniels moved into the open as a diversion tactic to help the squad's males get to safety. Squad mates get to safety. But Plantner saw him as a dumb mother effer who didn't deserve to live. The video never gets old. The dumb mother effer didn't deserve to live. At least his stupidity and fat ass wheezing are available for all future infantrymen to witness and hold in contempt. Plantner, then 34-year-olds, chided on his burner Reddit account. And the Democrats are going to rally, and they're going to nominate this guy to be a U.S. Senator for Maine. What type of sickness does it take to get down to that point? we really have hit the freaking bottom of the barrel. In other news, before we get to the local stuff, Todd Blanche, acting U.S. Attorney for Donald J. Trump, today announced the indictment of 94-year-old head of Cuba, Raul Castro.
Thank you very much. It's great to be here in the great state of Florida. Today, we are announcing an indictment charging Raul Castro and several others with conspiracy to kill U.S. nationals.
You hear the applause coming from the Floridians when Todd Blanche announced the indictment of Raul Castro for killing U.S. nationals. If they get Raul Castro over here in the U.S. and convict him, the Republicans will win Florida by 111%. They were cheering and woo-hooing this whole press conference. So that's something way deeper. Again, we're going to see if he's going to get the Maduro treatment and get hauled in to the U.S. I imagine Castro's quaking in his boots, knowing that the U.S. government, and this has been hinted for a couple of weeks it was coming, well, Todd Blanche and the U.S. Justice Department pulled the trigger, pulled the indictment on Raul Castro. Hopefully, how about an indictment a day? At least Monday through Friday. We've been kind of behind on those promises, Trump. And Blondie's out of the way. Whether it be Todd Blanche or whomever gets to be permanently named to that position, at least we're seeing some results. We'll get into the elections. Spencer Pratt's absolutely fabulous campaign. Steyer versus Becerra. The bashing starts, and let's hope Steyer clubs the crap out of him. That'll help Chad and Steve get in the top two. We'll roll it around on this exciting Hump Day Wednesday. Stay tuned. It'll be something else. One of the things that is interesting is how these campaigns are going to change. Here's another one of these brilliant Spencer Pratt ads. Here we go.
This mayor race is really heating up. Who you guys voting for? Haven't decided? Same, haven't really been following it. Same. Same? Same. I'm not MAGA or anything. But the city's kind of gone to shit though, right? Oh yeah. Jessica stepped on a needle at the playground the other day. I'm not MAGA or anything though. I'm not MAGA or anything, but have you been downtown lately? Looks like an episode of The Walking Dead. Not that I'm MAGA or anything though. Spencer Pratt seems like he has some good ideas. Not that I'm MAGA or anything. He does seem really angry all the time though. Well, they did burn his house down. Also, apparently he's staying at the Bel Air Hotel, not the trailer on his property. Well, yeah. They burned his house down. Okay, we're all adults here. How about on three, we just say who we're voting for? 1, 2, 3. Spencer Pratt. Yeah. Spencer Pratt. Spencer Pratt. Can you imagine if our wives knew?
We're all voting for Spencer Pratt, right? Of course. Obviously. I wish I could vote, like, yesterday.
All this AI generated stuff that would have cost you in a production $25 million. They probably put that together. I don't know. Spencer's one of his friends or whatever that's in the Hollywood industry that's sticking this stuff together. Absolutely brilliant ads. And it doesn't hurt that his most likely opponent's going to be Karen Buffoon Bass, who's the current mayor and burnt LA to the frickin' ground. You notice again, Ventura County, Riverside County fires going up. I mean, there's been a couple injuries. One house, I think, of all the three that are going on. But mainly, whole towns, thousands of homes and tens of thousands of people, and deaths in the 10, 20, 30, 40 are not happening. Here's Alex Michelson with Buffoon Bass, who promised to have homeless eliminated by 2026, the year we are in. Here we go.
Jay Tapper in 2023, you said that your goal was to end street homelessness in LA by 2026. It's now 2026.
And we haven't ended it.
We have not ended it, and we're not close to ending it. How are you so off?
Well, basically, when I said that, it was at the beginning of my term. I am very committed to achieving that goal. I didn't anticipate some of the bureaucratic barriers that I...
Shut up. This has got to be the stupidest woman maybe in the history of the world. You've been working as an elected official for what, 20, 30 years? Assemblywoman, congresswoman, now mayor of LA. I didn't understand the bureaucrat. Look, she didn't answer the question. You said when you got elected, it would be wiped out in 3 years. Homeless, no more vagrants, just like Gavin Newsom. That total piece of crap said in 2004 when they passed Prop 63, the Tax the Rich White Boys Act. Oh, in 5 years, by 2009, vagrancy will be gone. There will all be treatment centers and everything else. $100 billion, and 22 years later, it's 87,000 times worse. Just like this total sea up here. That's why Spencer Pratt, maybe he might even kick her ass in the November election if it comes down to a runoff between these two. And I hope she does. Because we need to stick it up the rear ends of these jerk-off politicians like Graham Plantner and Karen Bass that have been doing this for us and ruining our lives for frickin' centuries. Just get them the hell out. A little update on the elections. This bumper sticker's been going around. Don't blame me. I was tired and didn't want 2 Republicans, so I voted for Becerra. Tell me Democrats ain't worried about top 2. They can say what they want. They might even be afraid of Spencer Pratt. And maybe, and I think it's a long shot, if the Supreme Court holds up the executive order of Trump, because it seems like Thune and those useless band of Republicans up there in the Senate of the U.S. that won't get the Save America Act up. Who knows what might happen? Here's El Presidente.
Do you see yourself in him at all? A former reality TV star?
No, I'd like to see him do well. He's a character. I don't know him. I assume he probably supports me. Does he support me?
I think so.
I think so, yeah. I heard he does. I heard he's a big MAGA person. He's doing well. I don't know. If you have a rigged vote out there, that's the problem. The votes are rigged. You have a really rigged vote in California. You have all the mail-in ballots, everything else. Very hard to win because The elections are very dishonest. If we had Jesus Christ come down and count the votes, I would have won California because I do great with Hispanics. But it's a rigged vote. They sent out 38 million votes. Nobody knows where they're going. Of course, the Democrats do, I guess. But disproportionately, Democrats get many more votes. Some get 8 votes. They get 8 cards, and Republicans have to call in, where's my card? It's a rigged system. One of the most, not the worst, I'll give you a list. Maybe I'll do my list. But California's one of the most dishonest states for voting.
El Presidente is 100% correct, 111% correct on that. Even with that, they're still nervous. That top 2 in June is going to win. Here's the latest statistics on, now we're in the back half. Let's say if we're going to get 40% of the vote. After 2 weeks, we should have 30% of the vote in by now. So we should be 13% turnout. Latest statistics from Optic, 5.8%. Less than half. And the big stat, D+ advantage. Democrat over Republican percentage is 20%. They are still at only 4.4%. That spells big trouble for the Democratic Party. And look at the trend. It's starting to level off here in the last couple of days on ballots returned. And you look at that red and blue line. It hasn't been this close in probably 25 years. They're leading. Republicans are outpacing their registration in every age category, sex category, ethnicity category, registration share. And look at that still. In the last 2 weeks, D+7, D+5, D+5, D+4, D+4, beat D+3, beat D+3, D+4, D+4, D+4. And this is when, as you see, now we're up to, see how we're ever increasing ballots? We're now getting over 1.3 million returned. This does not bode well for the rats. The breakdown of the Democratic poll of what crosstabs they released. They didn't release how they made it up, so I'm suspect of this poll from the Democratic Party. But they're saying support among Democrats, Becerra is 2-1 over Steyer. They're holding even. The other polls have been showing Steve Hilton and Chad Bianco leading in independents, and this one doesn't. 18-17 for Steyer, Becerra, Hilton 11-10. Republicans almost 2-1. Hilton over Bianco. Republicans, get your ass together. Vote for Chad. We can still get this done. Just like CD48. You vote for that Olson guy, Jim Desmond's in. You vote for Olson, we will keep 48, ICE's old seat. I support Jim Desmond, but I would vote for Olson. Lock out the Democrats. Play the game. Play their game. They gave us these tools. They gave us this scenario. Let's use it. Quit pussyfooting around and buying all this. And, oh, we got to, if you get one, Steve or Chad versus any rat in November, mail it in. You're not going to win. I doubt even if this Becerra money scandal goes, you're not going to win. The other good part, Tom Steyer accuses Becerra of illegal influencer payments in California's governor's race. ABC 10 report. Hopefully, here we go.
Let's turn now to the race for governor. New details tonight after a story that Tom Steyer's campaign is under investigation by the California Fair Political Practices Commission.
They're accused of failing to properly disclose payments for campaign-related social media content. Now the Steyer campaign is making the same accusations against another Democratic candidate. ABC 10 State Matters political reporter Jenny Hudd joins us now with where things stand. Jenny.
Well, it's really a war of words right now, proof that we are deep into election season. But this is also about transparency for voters. Is a campaign paying for what you are seeing online?
So he invited me to ask him some questions. What do you have to say to young people?
It's these social media videos at the center of debate, content by popular creators supporting or opposing candidates for governor.
It is not illegal to expend money to have people promote your message.
Most candidates advertise online.
We see more and more social media content relating to candidates, relating to ballot measures, and that is a product of, frankly, a society that is hooked on and tied to social media.
What is required by state law is payment disclosure, both by the campaign and the content creator. That's why the Steyer campaign and influencer Isaiah Washington, to whom he paid $10,000, are under investigation by the FPPC. Steyer says his campaign has been transparent in disclosing payments. Washington has not responded to requests for comment. But those who filed the complaint, also content creators, argue Steyer needs to ensure the influencers disclose it too.
Engaging in these partnerships is not problematic, but they need to disclose for the benefit of the public to understand where the payment is coming from.
Caitlin Hennessy and Beatrice Gomberg also accused numerous other creators of not disclosing payments despite posting near identical pro-Steyer content. They also
pay them for doing work. They choose what to do.
You have no way in on the content.
No, they are independent businesses, independent small businesses. We pay them for their time. They do whatever they want to do.
Tuesday, the Steyer campaign filed an FPPC complaint against the Javier Becerra campaign over the same allegations. The complaint alleges content creators Jay Gonzalez and Maggie Reed were paid to post pro-Becerra content, but that
this is exactly what we need. Steyer and Becerra fighting to each other. Get rid of the Democrats are destroying themselves in California. Republicans, center-right, freedom, liberty types take advantage of that. Chad needs the votes right now. Steve's locked in. Encourage Steyer and Becerra to beat the crap out of each other. Knock them down. All we got to do is knock Becerra down about 2 or 3 points, pick Chad up about 2 or 3 points, and it's going to be Steve and Chad. Do not snatch defeat from the jaws of victory. Don't listen to the nattering nabombs and negativism that'll cost us possibly a congressional seat. We can stick it up Gavin Newsom and Prop 50's ass if we get top 2 in CD 48, which is down there, North County, San Diego, Temecula, around in there. Play the game to win. Play it smartly. Play it like Spencer Pratt. Rob Bonner, our Attorney General. This is why we need, another reason why we need Michael Gates. And we need to get Steve and Chad in because that's going to make it much more plausible that Michael Gates gets in. That ding-dong of an Attorney General we got, just like Javier Becerra did when he was. Rob Bonner's suing the Trump administration. Now he needs more money from us, the taxpayers, to sue Trump so Trump can withhold more money from California so we go deeper in the hole. Talk about stupidity on parade. As Trump said, it's so crooked out here. It's absolute, it's beyond stupid. Here we go.
More money to continue fighting President Donald Trump in court.
Our KCRA3 political director, Ashley Zavala, spoke with him about this today. So, Ashley, is he saying how much he needs? I've actually lost track of how many lawsuits there are against Trump administration.
Well,
50-something, yeah.
We'll get to that in a second, but no, he has not given a specific number yet, but a figure, the dollar amount he has said could be in the millions. This topic came up during a virtual news conference today where he announced California's 68th lawsuit against the Trump administration since the president took office last year. This latest lawsuit challenges the Trump administration's move to change the definition of professional degrees and the Trump administration's limit on student loan caps that could soon apply to those who want to be nurses or physical therapists, for example. To do this kind of work, suing the Trump administration, Governor Gavin Newsom and state lawmakers gave Bonta's office $25 million in a special session last year. Given that it is now budget season at our state capitol, when lawmakers and the governor are trying to figure out how to spend taxpayer money, I asked Bonta if he plans to ask for more. He said he's in talks about it right now and reviewing his department's finances. He also said because the Trump administration has not been enforcing antitrust law, the California Department of Justice needs more help doing so. Here's what the AG said.
And we've hired up quite a few, I think 44 approximately different attorney positions to beef up our team. And that was supported by the special session that the governor called soon after the election of President Trump and before the inauguration, and supported by the legislature. So we have received some additional support to do this additional work. And this is, thousands of hours of work across our different attorneys and paralegals and team members.
Well, crime runs rampant. We can't arrest vagrants. We can't arrest drug dealers. We can't arrest fraudsters. But boy, we will make darn sure we're going to sue the Trump administration because they painted their toenails pink or some stupid thing. No wonder California is so AFU'd. If Steve or Chad do get in, they're going to have a daunting task. As Herb Morgan, who's running for controller, un-effing California. And that's why you got to put the team in. Michael Gates is Attorney General, so we'll actually go after crime. Herb Morgan is controller. Controller can say, hey, if he has evidence of fraud, he can shut off the money to these phony hospice places, these NGOs, supposedly, or nonprofits that are making gazillions off of our dime. Sonia Shaw for superintendent of schools. Oh, Lord. That may be even the most important one yet, is un-effing our schools. And with that, we're going to have to fight with the teachers. And everything else. The teachers, California teachers, which have put more money, $200 million plus in the last 20 years, into political campaigns in California, dwarfing anyone else. Super PACs, evil white boys, whomever you want to, Republicans. Teachers have effed California, not only education, this whole state, in a large part. Probably bear the biggest responsibility. And I can prove that I'm right, because not a one of them will come in here and defend their position. Even though the invitation is still out there. Prove me wrong. We got a lot of uneffing to do, not only in California of that. Good signs coming up. And I will say this, wasn't happy about the Massey deal, but Trump's 37-0 on this stuff. He took out one U.S. Senator Cassidy, probably next week. Next Tuesday, John Cornyn of Texas will probably be gone.
40 seconds, and
Maybe
Susan's on the line.
Maybe we'll get all this stuff figured out. Or maybe we're on the path. Let's hope so, because failure is not an option. Or you're not going to like the results of it if it happens. So don't let it happen. We'll be back in a few seconds here, so hopefully with Susan Shelley on the line, and we'll get her thoughts on some of this and her weekly columns, and maybe a few surprises.
5 seconds. Here we go.
Phone app today. IE Newswire Daily is on the air.
The following is a paid program. Views and claims expressed are those of the program producer and are not endorsed by this station. Opinions expressed are not necessarily those of radio station KMET, its management, employees, or affiliates.
There's that funky live guitar music that comes in every Monday through Friday live at 5:30 on the Mighty Met 1490 AM, broadcasting all over the Inland Empire and the aforementioned AM band. Join our vast video audience in the Evil FB Network, YouTube. Check us out, subscribe, type in Newswire, Roy Bleckert. You'll see my nice, smiling, shining face. What a day. Lead story. Ian. I never thought that I'd cross this off the list. We would have a U.S. Senate candidate who was posting, I kid you not, about yanking his crank. I mean, it's bizarre. We went through you got to watch go back and watch the archives of the first part of the show if you missed it. Graham Plantner is running the Democrat or presumptive Democrat nominee for Maine. And plus what he said about the soldier, that one of his fellow soldiers that got killed in Afghanistan. They're going to put this guy up. Now, I'm no Susan Collins fans by any means, and that's being kind. But for crying out loud, the rats can only come up with something like that. And our politics is getting, let's say, really bad. Karen Bass was going to wipe out homelessness by this year, which she promised when she was elected 3 years ago. Alex Michelson had her double talking it. We had the latest in the Spencer Pratt ads. He's killing it. The latest on the governor's elections, top 2 in June, is still in place and alive and well. We can prove it just by this bumper sticker again. Don't blame me. I was tired and didn't want 2 Republicans, so I voted for Baccaria. They're still nervous. We still got a chance. Discuss this and much, much more. We have, as the famed editorial writer, columnist for the Press Enterprise, San Bernardino Sun, Inland Daily Bulletin, Redlands Daily Facts, more important to me, Vice President of Howard Jarvis Taxpayers Association, Susan Shelley. Welcome to iNewsWire, Roy.
Thank you so much, Roy. Great to be with you.
Man, what a lot of stuff going on today. As in every day, it seems like. More and more and more, there's things that you just make you go home or shake your head. But there's still a lot of stuff optimistic looking out there. Cassidy's gone from the U.S. Senate. Cornyn will probably be gone next week. Trump is still winning. The midterms are looking much better with the redistricting and stuff, with the Cook report coming out saying we have 210 safe Republicans, 207, 18 toss-ups. Well, if you split them evenly, the Republicans still may hold the House, even though it's probably not likely. A week ago, everybody said it was done. Hakeem Jeffries is melting down over this. Todd Blanche just announced the indictment of Raul Castro for killing American nationals. I wonder if he's going to get the Maduro treatment. Take it anywhere you want, Susan Shelley.
Well, it's a very interesting election year. I just have to observe that something we've seen from President Trump from the moment he got into politics is that he is miles ahead of everybody else. So while all the talking heads on all the cable channels are saying something is going to be next week, next month, whatever, he's looking 9 months, a year ahead, and he's playing this game of where his checkers are going to be on the board way down the line. And this is how he wins. He's just ahead of everybody. So the way he has been endorsing candidates, very strategically, and everybody's like, oh, that's terrible what he's doing. It's very strategic, and it seems to be paying off. He's wiped out the Mitch McConnell machine in Kentucky, as I understand. And his endorsed candidates have been doing very well everywhere. He endorsed in the Texas Senate race, which has people upset in the Republican Party in Texas, but I think he's probably making the right call. And he is going to get that filibuster broken in one way or another, and he is going to get his agenda accomplished, which is extremely important because if the Democrats take power again, all they're going to do is prosecute him. And by the way, he managed to make all of these fake audits from the IRS and fake investigations go away in this settlement of his $10 billion lawsuit over the release of his tax returns from leaked documents. So I think he's playing a very long game, and I think it's going to work out okay.
I hope so. The biggest thing that I have that I would like to see, I hope they come to a resolution on the Iran war, because we need to get the oil and gas prices back down, get the inflation flushed back out in the economy. We don't need this rolling through the rest of the year and into the midterms. People are edgy enough as it is right now. I think if we could get the overseas situation knocked down and get back on domestic policy, I think we'll be okay going into November. Well, what say you?
Well, it looks to me like he's doing the same thing. He's playing the long game. I think he certainly knows when the election is, and he certainly knows he's got to get those gas prices down before that happens. However, he's not going to be playing a weak hand publicly and letting Iran know that they can win out because of the election. So he's taking a very hard line publicly. He's very believable on this, I think, when he says he's going to resume bombing. He might. And then he can say, oh, well, Pakistan asked me not to, so 2 more weeks. And he can do this for a while. But I do think that his goal is to have an Iranian government, not to replace the Iranians, not to do what we tried to do in Iraq. We're blowing it all up and we're going to have elections and it'll all be wonderful. He's not doing that. He wants to have the situation he had in Venezuela, where the existing government just becomes more rational and more amenable to working with us. So I think he will get there. It's obviously very difficult, but I think he will get there.
It's always been my contention, and I think the evidence is clear. Democrats play smash-mouth politics, and they're focused on winning. And Republican, center-right, freedom, liberty types need to get on this train. You put this up on the X machine, it's been going around. This is Hakeem Jeffries, minority leader of the House, and why he shouldn't be majority leader, and we better work like heck until November to prevent it. But here we go.
I guess part of how we as House Democrats view this moment, either MAGA extremists are going to break the country or we're going to break them. And our goal is to break them. We will defeat them. We have to beat them electorally, and then we have to break their spirit because of the extremism that's being unleashed on the American people. That's completely and totally unacceptable. I guess part of how we as House Democrats view this moment. They
try to stir the hatred, in my opinion, to control everybody. That's what this is all about. Because you don't want opportunity and prosperity. You want gloom, despair, and agony on me, which you would bring and your party has brought to us for decades, but then they're good. They are not playing. If you have any doubt, that should erase any doubt that those cats on the Democratic fruitcake nut side are not playing any games, Susan Shelley.
Well, yes, and we saw during the 4 years that President Trump was out of office how they used the weaponization of government to go after people, not just President Trump, although he was certainly a target of 4 indictments, which were all ridiculous. They went after everyone who worked in his administration. They went after his lawyers. A murderer can have a lawyer. They went after his lawyers. It's appalling what they've done to thousands of people. All of those people who were prosecuted for protesting on January 6th were over-prosecuted and over-incarcerated, and he did the right thing in pardoning them. I mean, under the doctrine of enough already, and now he wants to have them compensated for their wrongful suffering through this new fund that he's negotiated as a result of settling a lawsuit that he brought because the IRS allowed a contractor to leak his tax returns. So the wrongful conduct by the Democrats is everywhere in the record. You don't have to look at it and say, oh, this is what they will do. We know what they did. So when someone like Hakeem Jeffries says we're going to break them, that is a very serious threat. And it has a history behind it that indicates they know no limits and they hold back not at all. And it's really important that people who say things like that are driven out of politics because they should not be in power.
Switching gears on the governor's race and the elections coming up June 2nd here, voting is going on. We're halfway through. We're past the halfway point. We should be at about 30% of the vote if you're going to figure a 40% turnout. Should be about 13%. We're only at 5.8%. The big news, and I think this is what's got the Democrats really nervous, is in voter registration, Democrats lead Republicans by about 20 points, 45% to 25%. Republicans are within 4%. We didn't even turn this out this close in the recall election or high water mark in the last 25 years in 2003. If this trend, I'm saying if it's minus 10 or less, Steve and Chad will be in the top 2 if we get our act together, if we don't start destroying ourselves, if we don't take the bait. We got to split the votes evenly and throw all the cards in on June 2nd. Because if it's D versus R, I don't care who it is, the R is going to lose. And there is no doubt. Trump said it. The elections are too crooked out here. They're giving us this on a silver platter. Tom Steyer and Baccaria are fighting with each other. Great. Accusations are flying. We need to encourage those two to beat the crap out of each other because my scorecard, we need to knock Baccaria down about 3 or 4 points and put Chad up about 3 or 4 points. And it's going to be Hilton Bianco going into November, Susan Shelley.
Well, that is a great plan, but I just don't know how you can engineer it. How do you make that happen?
Everybody needs to encourage the Steyer-Baccaria fight and quit fighting about this. The Hilton supporters, fine. Bianco supporters, fine. We got to take the ones. Here's what people don't realize. Look at the numbers. Decline to states or no party preference are about 50-50 split. They're not 60-40, but that's much bigger than the percentage, which is almost 2-1 when you take party registration, Democrat and Republican. The most you're going to get is 55%. But the turnout model, and they're about even. If you run this right and you knock those and you keep them scattered, and anybody that's voting Democrat, have them vote for Tony Thurmond or Mahan or Psycho Chick Porter or whatever, that's how you pull it off. It's still possible. You just got to work it. Quit fighting center rights. Quit fighting over this or Bianco's got to drop out or Hilton's got to drop out. No, they have to stay in. They need to split the vote equally. And I will say it again. You go look at CD 48, the old ISIS seat. Desmond's out there 30%. The Republicans at 10. All the Democrats are at single digits. If you vote for that Kevin Olson guy, we will keep a seat and shove Prop 50 up Newsom and Paul Mitchell's and the Democrats' rear end. That's one they thought they would have. We can win in June. Play the strategy strike. It's not that hard. We just got to do it. That's my plan, Susan.
Well, I agree with you. That would be awesome, but I don't know how you can control the voters. Really, then I think Chad Bianco is polling lower than he's going to finish in the race because he's a Riverside County sheriff, and that's what it says on his ballot designation, and that's persuasive to a lot of people. And so I think he will be stronger in the election results than he's showing up in the polls. So it might work out exactly the way you want. As far as Steyer and Becerra fighting with each other, I don't think we need to do anything there. They seem to be carrying each other's entrails out all on their own. So that seems fine. This is a very difficult thing to figure. The Democratic machine that does ballot harvesting is running out of time. So even though they have all these people who want to do this, they had a 4-week plan, and now they've got 2 weeks or less to execute it. So I don't know that they can manage to do what they normally do. We'll see.
The turnout model is screaming that, and we bet we've got this once in a lifetime opportunity to actually complete the Hail Mary pass. I hope we do it. Switching gears again, I want to hear about this one because how did this ballot measure get this particular designation is almost criminal. But your column this week, Pay or Die, the scare tactics behind LA County's measure, ER tax increase. Susan Shelley.
Yes, well, the county asked for ER, and the registrar gave it to them. That's how that happened. They requested it. They have the right to request it. They write the ballot, they write the ballot materials. They write the title and summary and all of it, and then they ask the county for a designation, and that's what they got. It stands for essential resources, essential services restoration, or something like that. And then it's nonsense. Of course, they mean the emergency room. And what they're arguing is that if we don't raise sales tax by 0.5% for 5 years, everybody's going to die. All the trauma centers will close, the emergency room will close, the hospitals will close, there will be layoffs of all of the union healthcare workers. Life as we know it will come to an end, and you can rescue it all for just, as they put it, half a penny. Now, the trouble is that the sales tax in Los Angeles County is already quite high, over the state limit, and they had to have special legislation introduced to allow them to even do another 0.5%. And so that is halfway through its passage. It passed in the Assembly, and I think is pending in the Senate. I hope we can stop it. I don't think we will. 5 Republicans voted for it and saved it in the Assembly, which is really shocking, including Keith Flora, the Assembly Republican leader. They voted for this tax increase bill to allow L.A. and also Contra Costa to raise their sales tax above the cap. And why did they do that? I don't know. There were a bunch of Democrats from the L.A. area who would not vote for it because the sales tax is already too high. And yet, 5 Republicans stepped up to get the 2/3 vote that it needed. Just shocking, really.
I think they're scared of the firefighters. I mean, follow the money. That's why they did it. I mean, and so the second thing, they got no guts. They do not have guts to tell the truth. This is a big problem that we've had in the GOP party in California is we don't have very many stand-up people. We had one Bill O'Saley, but Trump picked him out of the deal. Not that I'm disappointed that he's assistant attorney out here at DOJ, but we lost a lot when when we got him in the Assembly finally, and then he was one of the few that would stand up there and say, "Hey, this is the way it is," and not back down. And
that's true.
That's where we got to go with this stuff, at least in my opinion, of that. But that's what, again, I think we need to be a lot tougher, especially on the side. We got to say we're not tolerating this stuff. I mean, kind of like Trump did. Whether I agree, I don't agree what he did with Massey, but he saw him as going against, you weren't on the team, you're off. And sometimes you got to be cutthroat about this stuff. You're not playing, you're not playing kids games. You're dealing with stuff that's going to affect all of our lives. So sometimes you just got to get in there and get after it. And I think with this, hopefully, with Spencer Pratt gaining traction and the conditions in Karen Bass burning the town down, and then Alex Michelson catching her on, hey, you said homeless was going to be done here in 26. In 3 years, you were going to have it gone. This sounds exactly like 2004 and Prop 63, the Tax the Rich White Boys Act, that Newsom said, oh, in 5 years, we're going to have it all fixed, yada, yada, yada. Here, $100 billion, and 22 years later, it's 87,000 times worse. We need to hold their feet to the fire, Susan.
Well, I agree with you completely. And this particular tax, Measure E, is especially bad because it's a general tax, so they're just lying. They're saying, oh, yes, it's going to be spent on health care, and here's our detailed plan of what percentage goes where. And it's all nonsense because it's a general tax. They can spend it on anything. And if you read the fine print, it says, well, this is our intent. Well, you can't take that to the bank. They say, well, we have an oversight committee. And what are they going to do? They're going to watch as you spend it on something else because there's no legal requirement to spend it on health care. So it's very deceptive. And the real problem, they keep saying, oh, it's the cuts from the Trump administration. There have been no cuts. What the Trump administration is doing is making sure only eligible people receive federally reimbursed Medi-Cal benefits. And guess who the ineligible people are? And that's the problem. They're raising taxes to provide full-scope health care to people who are in the country illegally without any limitations at all. And we can't afford it, and they're raising taxes because of it.
If the Save Prop 13 Act passes, which I'm almost confident it is in November, I'm going to push hard in the next election cycle is we need to strengthen Prop 13 again and make it 2/3. I don't care what it is. Tax fee, anything else, if they're raising it, it's got to have a 2/3 vote, regardless. As we need to stop this whole thing. They've been whittling away for almost 50 years now at Prop 13. Steyer says he wants to repeal it. We got to re-strengthen that. I don't care, special tax, non-special tax. I don't care if it's a paint your pink toenails fee. It's got to have a 2/3 vote to increase it. Anything that increases revenue or a fee or a tax or whatever you want to call it has got to have a 2/3 vote. We need to put that provision statewide, and I think that would do a lot for taking California, or uneffing it, is the great sign that Herb Morgan, running for controller, uneffing California's put up. But we got about a minute left. Tell them why they should join HJTA Go.
Well, on the subject of the 2/3 vote, I have to tell you that the legislature has put on the November ballot already that would require a 2/3 vote to pass any constitutional amendment that requires a 2/3 vote for tax increases. Always been a simple majority vote, 50% plus one for a constitutional amendment when it's on the ballot. And they want to change that so that something like Prop 13 can never pass again. And if you want to fight that, you must join the Howard Jarvis Taxpayers Association, because I want to tell you, they are coming for you. They are trying to change the Constitution so they can come at you even more. HJTA.org is the website. You want to be a member and you want to strengthen this organization and strengthen your voice. We'll have our local Taxpayer Protection Act to save Prop 13 on the November ballot. That's going to be a yes. And then there's going to be this other one. That's going to be a no. We need help getting the word out to everybody about all of this. HJTA.org. Please join. Please volunteer. And help us save California. HJTA.org.
Thanks for being on, Susan. We'll do it again next week.
Thanks so much, Roy. Bye.
Susan Shelley, Vice President of Howard Jarvis Taxpayers Association and columnist extraordinaire for the Southern California News Group. Seriously, we all got to grow some balls here in California. Just imagine if 10% of the people would take 10% of the time that they devote to the 3x5 screen and actually work to make their lives better, to give them greater opportunity, to increase their wealth, to increase their future prospects, to restore the once golden state. That's probably all it would take. Look, we have the other side scrambling in a lot of different directions. And again, this hasn't happened in a long time. This probably happened on my watch in 80 with the Reagan Revolution. Probably, really, we went a lot of, and like I said, there was a monolithic presidency until Trump came along. California went downhill after 1988, after Prop 98 passed, after we'd got $1 billion tax refund from the GAN spending caps, and then they went on a crusade to destroy it. Destroy California and destroy education, brought to you by the teachers of California. It's time, as Herb Morgan's sign says, to un-F California. And we better get off our dead rear ends and do it. We got the shot to do it. We got them on the ropes. Don't let them off. Don't believe or don't follow the path of the clowns that have brought you this, whether they be Democrats or Republicans. I said the establishment Republicans are much more dangerous than Democrats. They're the ones who try to rope you in. Oh, we got to have Steve Hilton so he can lose, and we can get Javier Baccaria in as governor in 2026 and have 8 years of Baccaria or Steyer. If you think Gavin Newsom, I said it about Jerry Brown when Gavin Newsom, you'd be begging for him back. You put Baccaria or Steyer in charge, you're going to beg for Gavin Newsom back. Guaranteed. We got 2 weeks or less than 2 weeks to pull this off. Get people to vote for Chad. If they won't vote for Chad, if they vote for Democrat, have them vote for Tony Thurmond or the psycho chick or whomever. Let's get this done. That'll do it for today. As we usually say at this time, mandatory you're back here 23 hours wide. You're the best darn show in the whole wide world. Till then, see ya.
Have a great night.
You got it.